Oh man, like you're like a diamond in the rough. Because if you can get in the 240s without understanding how they're making questions, like, oh man, the world is your oyster.
So my name's Min. I'm an M3 or almost M4 at Rutgers and JMS. I'm planning to apply IM this fall. So a 260 would be great. So I've got about 2.5 weeks. I took a NBME yesterday and it was 244.
Yeah. So basically almost all of the things that you studied were high.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to guess that you haven't studied neuro.
No.
MSK derm.
Nope.
This is essentially what you want to see. But what I'm really encouraged is that cardio is probably your first. Is that right?
Yeah.
So that's really good. That means that not only is it high, but it stayed high. Because that's like, cardio is kind of like the canary in the coal mine for retention. Because we start most people with cardio. Your cardio is like super high. It's like you're high at section. So that's great. That's awesome. How are you generating your cards?
Sometimes it's with the USMLE GPT. Sometimes, I'm going to be honest, I made up sort of my own little card making thing at the end of third year. Sort of like a really long handoff that I put into Claude. And obviously I give it a lot of notes for each question. But sometimes when I'm doing like a lot of questions a day, I'll just kind of throw it in there. But I alternate between the two of them.
I'd be a little careful with that.
Yeah.
Because it's now easy to make obscene numbers of cards.
Mm-hmm.
And you can actually do it pretty, like, they're actually pretty reasonable cards. The challenge is that you're still the human that is responsible for reviewing them afterwards.
Yeah.
So I would be a little careful with, like, I probably wouldn't add, I mean, because you're adding, how many cards? 100 cards a day for the last 30 days. It's probably twice what you should be adding. Just because you're going to end up spending a lot of time on Anki.
Yeah.
So at this stage of the game, I can just tell you the pattern recognition is you're going to have to study neuro and MSK derm and, whatever things are weak, but that you should be able to do, right? Like you'll have to do probably 4 or 5 subtopics in each first, do the systems, like that'll be fine. I don't really worry so much about that. If you don't get a 260, it's going to be because you got questions wrong on the knowledge that you have.
Yeah.
And so that is less of an Anki problem and more of an interpretation problem. All right. So this is a 57-year-old woman. She's brought to the ED by paramedic 15 minutes after she was found unresponsive on a park bench. Oh my God. I see. Why, pray tell, do you think they made her have type 2 diabetes if she's found unresponsive on a park bench?
I mean, are these all like stroke risk factors?
Potentially. Again, remember, stroke is a pretty uncommon cause of loss of consciousness. Like, it can happen. It can definitely happen.
Like hyperglycemic emergency kind of thing?
Yeah. Hypoglycemia. Yeah. So it's just, I'm going to point some of these things out, right? So it's like, yeah, the reason why she's got type 2 diabetes, probably because they're trying to give you, an alternative explanation, right? Which would be that she could be hypoglycemic. So I'm going to try to peel back the curtain a bit on how they're writing this question. So most likely, the reason why they're making her type 2 diabetic and giving her this post-traumatic complex partial seizures and chronic low back pain and all this other stuff is that each of these things could potentially lead to something that could make you unconscious. Hypertension, right? Like, why is that important? Because, I don't know, maybe you could have like a dissection or, I don't know, like MI or whatever, some stroke. So there's like all of these things. And so this is what we call noise. Noise either is something there to confuse you, right? Like it's literally just like a red herring, or it's there to sort of like, it's just not that important. They're just giving you sort of unnecessary details. And it's kind of funny, right? Because you like look at the answer choices and you're like, well, okay, it makes sense. Chronic subdural hematoma, conversion sort of hypertensive encephalopathy. Oh, that's why they give you the hypertension. Okay, great. Now I get it. Hypoglycemia, right? Again, because they give you type 2 diabetes. Opioid intoxication, right? Because she's got chronic low back pain. She's on opiates. Ruptured saccular aneurysm. Oh, also the hypertension thing. Right? Yep. But do you see, and status, again, right? See, like all of these things, they are going to, the phrase to remember is, they are going to give you enough rope to hang yourself on an alternative diagnosis, right? So you'll notice they give you like, she's unconscious, which that's a very wide differential. as you know, right?
Right.
And then they give you like 6 different things that it could be, 7 different things it could be, each of which is supported by at least a part of the vignette. And so there's going to be like 1 or 2 sentences in this that are going to tell you what that thing is. Fair?
Mm-hmm.
This is the game. Also, the reason why Quad making you a bunch of flashcards is not going to help you get to the next level.
Yeah.
I feel pretty confident in saying that now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Outside of maybe the neuro ones, like neuro, MSK, germ, like things where you have a demonstrated weakness. But for the things that you already know, that is not the thing that's going to make you better. It's kind of like you got really, really, really good at dribbling in basketball. And so you're like excellent at dribbling, but then you suck at shooting, right? It's like working on dribbling more is not going to be the thing that takes you to the next level, right? You got to work on the thing that you're, the thing holding you back.
Right.
So it goes. Okay, so how did you end up choosing chronic subdural, out of curiosity? If you're a medical student or a doctor preparing for either the USMLEs or COMLEX or one of your medical board exams, then be sure to sign up for our free 14-step program where we'll walk you through the most efficient ways for you to improve your score in a short period of time. And if you're interested in getting there faster, be sure to book a free call with our team where we'll break down what it is that's holding you back and, if it makes sense, explain how it is that we can help you to get there more efficiently.
I don't really know. I think I was kind of looking at this and I was like, there's so much, like you said, things that like everything is like kind of supported, and my confidence in like my neuro knowledge is like through the floor. And I'm trying to remember what exactly keyed me into picking A. It might have just been like, I have no idea, and move on. I mean, I did flag it.
Sure. Yeah. So what happens when we don't feel confident in our knowledge is that we think that that's the barrier to us getting the question correct. Now, if I told you that the answer was opioid intoxication, which it was, right? Could you go, like, do you know enough about opioid intoxications that you had enough knowledge to get this one correct?
Yeah, I probably would have gone and checked the pupils, which are pinpoint. I would have checked like her respirations, which are 6. And then, I mean, yeah, it makes sense now that you give me the answer.
Great. Yeah. What I want to point out is that you had enough knowledge to get the question correct. Now, that's not the same as getting it correct, right? The things that you can do to get this question correct the next time, obviously, are improve your knowledge in neuro, right? That's kind of a given. But then second, it's kind of a mindset thing of like, don't let your lack of knowledge, just because you don't know something super well, doesn't mean you don't know it at all. Cool?
Yeah, cool. I think, all right. Like, I'm trying to see how I maybe would have approached it differently in another time. Honestly, like, I don't even remember reading the 1 millimeter and checking the respirations. And
probably like, your mind shut down.
Is my guess. Yeah.
You just like, you were like, oh God, I don't know this. Like, you kind of decided in your head, I don't know this. And you kind of like had like a mini panic episode and just like started reading sentences without actually thinking about what they meant. And I don't mean that against you specifically. It's just typically what we see among people is that for things that they're not confident in, the natural response is to have like a little mini panic episode within the question. And then like they just, there is a pretty obvious sentence that they do know, but they're so kind of in their fear in that moment that they don't see it. So that's why I say that it's more of a emotion regulation kind of thing than it is an actual like, what's the approach? How do I read the question? That kind of thing. To get a 260, the game is not, it's not binary. It's not, do I get the question right or wrong? It's what's the likelihood that I get the question right? And then systematically doing things that will increase the likelihood. So yeah, you could anchor on the first, think of nothing else, the first sentence, anchor on a single diagnosis, and you're smart and you've worked hard enough that like, at least a reasonable amount of times you will get that correct. But if you want to inch up your score, right? Because every percent is worth about, say about 2 points on your test. And so you got to systematically inch up your score. And so if you can just do something that will increase the likelihood of you getting a question correct by 5%, and you do that in every single question, you've added 10 points to your score. That's how you improve your score at this stage. Because you don't have a lot of knowledge gaps. You got some neuro ones, sure, MSK germ, sure, but those will not be enough to add 16 points to your score. It's not, I don't think in your case, most of the questions you got wrong weren't knowledge. except for the ones where like you knew that it was like you were weak on those things. But
Mhm.
even the neuro one wasn't really a neuro thing, and it wasn't really knowledge,
Yeah.
right? It's like kind of learning how to get into the brain of the test writer. So thinking
Yeah.
like, okay, why did they put this sentence there? That kind of thing. This is kind of it's great because like I don't think you practice these things at all,
No.
which is great. That's awesome, right? It's kind of like you rock at serving, but you're like bad at volleying.
Yeah.
That's awesome, right? Because it means that like you get beginner gains, right? Like you've
Yeah.
got like, there's some low hanging fruit that is just like waiting to be picked. So, but yeah, I would have fun with the QI stuff and trying to just get into the mind of like why did they choose that? Just kind of get curious about it. Like, that's interesting. Why did they ask me that? But the goal is that um you want that closed loop feedback. You want to make a judgment. I thought that this sentence meant this. And then you get corrected feedback like, no. Actually, they told you that they have type 2 diabetes because they were trying to set up some poor fool for thinking it's hypoglycemia. Right? And you're
Right.
like, oh, I get it. Oh, I see. Oh, okay, right? Right. But
Mhm.
you need closed loop feedback because otherwise you'll have an incorrect idea and you'll have no idea. It's kind of like those people that are like, I'm going to do 100 ULID questions a day. They do it for 30 days, not knowing like whether it's working or not. And the next NBME is like, no better.
Cool.
I mean, very good. Very nice to meet you.
You as well. Really
All right.
appreciate it.
Absolutely. All right, take care.
If you're putting in the hours but your knowledge isn't accumulating, it's not about studying more. It's about building a system where nothing you learn gets forgotten. In this video, I break down the exact framework to make that happen and get you on track for a 260 plus in step 2. Click here to watch it next.